Welcome to your daily economics and financial highlights for August 25th, 2025. Today we cover Yes Bank, Bank of India, State Bank of India, Reliance Communications, Reliance Infrastructure, Reliance Power, LIC, IDBI Bank, MCX, Hindalco, Vedanta, Adani Enterprises, JSW Steel, Eicher Motors, Indian Hotels, Hindustan Petroleum, Nayara Energy, Mahindra, Zomato, and Hindustan Copper. Yes Bank sentiment, positive. Japan's Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, or SMBC, can raise its stake in Yes Bank up to 24.99%. And is exploring another 4.99% purchase from private equity holders. A bigger strategic shareholder usually improves access to capital and governance oversight. While talks are at early stages, regulatory openness and past transactions create a supportive backdrop. For everyday investors, foreign bank interest is a sign of confidence and can help the bank lend and grow more comfortably. Bank of India, sentiment, negative. Bank of India has declared loans to Reliance Communications and related parties as fraudulent, citing that Spectrum loan proceeds were allegedly parked in mutual funds and fixed deposits. The bank will pursue recoveries. However, such cases can mean higher provisions and legal costs. Anil Ambani disputes the findings and process. For a layperson, this is serious, and while banks must clean up their books, these actions can affect near-term profitability. SBI had already tagged RCom as fraudulent earlier. Today's reports largely restate the context. For investors, the immediate impact on SBI is limited, but it underscores sector caution around legacy telecom exposures. Structural strengths at SBI remain, but this isn't a fresh positive catalyst. Reliance Communications, sentiment, negative. RCom disclosed Bank of India's fraud classification letter and remains in insolvency proceedings. The company disputes the allegations and process. For non-experts, once loans are tagged as fraud, a borrower faces tighter constraints and prolonged litigation, making any turnaround difficult. This is not an investable name on the exchange today due to delisting. Reliance Infrastructure clarified that CBI action in the RCom matter does not affect its operations, financials, or stakeholders. This is a reassurance aimed at investors to avoid sentiment spillover from RCom headlines. No fresh business trigger is indicated today. Reliance Power issued a similar statement. RCom proceedings have no operational or financial impact on the company. It's a steady-as-she-goes message for investors, and not a growth update. LIC sentiment positive. CB approved reclassifying LIC as a public shareholder in IDBI Bank once the strategic sale is completed, with caps on voting rights and a timeline to pare stake per central bank norms. This clears the way for the government-led divestment and potential value unlocking at IDBI. For lay listeners, it's a regulatory green light that helps a long-pending sale move forward. The same decision benefits IDBI Bank, improving ownership clarity and potentially attracting new investors. Over time, better governance and strategic focus can support profitability. This is positive news for IDBI's roadmap. MCX, sentiment positive. MCX is bringing farmer-producer organizations, FPOs, into futures markets. More participants can improve price discovery and raise trading volumes. For lay investors, higher volumes usually help an exchange's revenues and liquidity. This is a small but meaningful structural positive. Hindalco, sentiment positive. Gujarat is becoming India's copper hub. Hindalco's Dahej expansion, planned, adds large smelting capacity, meeting strong demand from infrastructure and electric vehicles. Local capacity reduces import dependence and can support better margins through scale. This is a long-cycle, structural positive for the company. Vedanta, sentiment neutral. Today's item is an advertisement highlighting Vedanta's ambitions in critical minerals and energy transition metals. It reinforces the strategic theme but doesn't announce a specific new project with numbers. For investors, it's branding rather than a new financial development. Adani Enterprises, sentiment positive. Kuch copper at 500 KTPA anchors Gujarat's copper surge. As the unit ramps up, India can reduce refined copper imports. For lay listeners, building at home what was earlier imported can improve trade balances and support earnings quality. This adds another growth engine beyond the group's other businesses. JSW Steel sentiment positive. JSW Group plans a 500 KPA copper smelter in Odisha by FY29, complementing West Coast capacity. It diversifies the group beyond steel and positions it in a metal critical for electrification. Long gestation but a clear structural story. Eicher Motors sentiment negative. A proposed 40% GST slab for 350cc plus motorcycles may lift prices for Royal Enfield models which dominate this segment. Higher prices often dampen demand, at least near term, unless offset by income growth or product refreshes. Caution for premium bike makers until tax clarity emerges. Indian Hotels Company, sentiment positive. IHCL plans asset-light expansion in Europe and Southeast Asia, targeting 700-plus hotels under Accelerate 2030. Operating contracts let it scale faster with lower capital needs than owning properties. That can boost returns and reduce balance sheet risk. Hindustan Petroleum, sentiment positive. The HPCL Rajasthan refinery saw a ministerial inspection indicating continued progress. Large refining projects, once commissioned, can meaningfully add to throughput and profitability while supporting regional fuel availability. Nayara Energy, sentiment neutral. Despite EU sanctions tightening, Nayara says its refinery is running smoothly to supply the domestic market. This is steady operations amid policy noise. Watch for any shifts in crude sourcing costs or margins. Mahindra, sentiment positive. M&M is scouting land for a greenfield plant for new SUVs using a multi-energy platform, with first rollouts planned in 2027 and EV capacity ambitions. New capacity generally supports volumes and market share in fast-growing segments. Zomato, sentiment neutral. In coverage of cold chain logistics, service providers cite working with Blinkit and FMCG brands. While not a direct event for Zomato, stronger cold chains can expand fresh and grocery categories. This is ecosystem positive, company neutral today. Hindustan Copper, sentiment positive. Investments cited include Hindustan Copper's expansions alongside private players, supporting India's push to be a copper hub. More domestic capacity can lift availability and reduce import costs over time. Outro, that's your 10-minute wrap of market movers and policy signals. See you tomorrow for sharper, simpler market highlights.